Hello everybody. In this video we're going to discuss all about the Australian PR in 2022. If we talk about immigration, Australia has been really quiet in terms of immigration, but this year starting July there are chances that they might pick up pace once again. So in this video we'll be discussing the step-by-step process to apply the Australian PR. We'll check out the eligibility criteria as well. We'll see the points table and we'll also check out the calculator so you can actually calculate your points, and also we'll discuss the fee as well. Hello everybody, I am Shitanshu from Dream Abroad and I regularly upload videos to help you immigrate and settle abroad. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do not forget to click the subscribe button. Now you can also subscribe to our new Hindi vlogging channel Dreamers Abroad. Okay, just a couple of days back I uploaded this video where I talked about the chances of Australian PR in 2022, and according to the Australian Treasury's mid-year economic update, the Australian immigration is expected to climb to 180,000 in 2022 and 23. But guys, let me make it very clear right in the start of this video that we don't know the real prospects for all the people who neither have any education credentials nor have any skilled work experience in Australia. But there are chances that after July 2022, the PR process for Australia would speed up once again. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly get started to discuss the process. Alright guys, so the complete Australian PR process can be divided into 6 simple steps. The first step is to check the eligibility of your occupation. The second step is to calculate your points. The third step is skills assessment. The fourth step is English test. The fifth step is submitting your EOI or expression of interest, and the sixth step and last one is submitting your visa application. Of course, there would be a processing time of few months, and then after that you can expect your PR visa to be granted. Now whenever you talk about the Australian PR, we'll talk about the two visa subclasses 189 and 190. I created a separate video about it in detail, so I'll provide a link in the description box below so that you can check that out. But just to quickly tell you about these two different visas, the visa subclass 189 is the skilled independent visa and the visa subclass 190 is the skilled nominated visa. And as I said, whenever we talk about the Australian PR, you'll get to hear a lot about these two visas. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's quickly check out the first step, which is checking the eligibility of your occupation. So guys, this is the website from the Department of Home Affairs of Government of Australia, and if you scroll down this page, then you'll find all the different occupations listed down here. Although there will be many occupations, so you won't find all them in one page, and you can select your occupations or rather search your occupations. So let's say you are a developer, so you can just search for a developer in this list here, and they'll give you list of occupations. Maybe you're a developer programmer, or maybe you're a web developer. Both of them are mentioned here, and you can also see the different visa subclasses for which this is applicable. So it is actually applicable for 190 and 189 as well. You can also search that from this list here. Let's say you want to search for a nurse, so you can search for all the occupations that are related to nursing. So you have got many occupations here. Let's say starting with enrolled nurse, then you have nurse educator, then you have nurse manager, nurse practitioner, nurse researcher, and many more. Whichever occupation you belong to, you can actually find that occupation here in this list. You can see it's a big list. Almost all the occupations would be here. More than 674 occupations are here. So most probably your occupation would be here in this list as well. And if you have found it, then you can move on to the step 2, which is calculating your points. Okay, so this is the points table for skilled independent visa subclass 189, and you can see you have got different criteria based on which you will get the certain points, and you can actually calculate your points from this points calculator as well. But before we check out this points calculator, let's go on and check out this points table there. Now let me tell you here that the eligibility criteria of the minimum points that you should have through this points table is 65, and even if you score 65 points, that would not ensure that you would certainly get an invitation for any particular profession. Let's say nurse, which is in very huge demand because of COVID-19. Maybe even for the score of 65 they would get an invitation. But maybe an IT project manager or a QA or a developer, At 65, 70, 75, you should not expect an invitation. The cutoff score for that may be even higher, maybe 90, 95. I cannot comment on that right now. But anyways, let's see the points table. How can you actually score those number of points? So if you are between 25 and 33, then you'd score maximum number of points, that is 30 points, and then you'll start losing points as well. Then after that, the eligibility criteria is that you should have at least competent English. We'll check that what does competent English actually means in the next step. So if you're able to score superior English, you would get 20 points for that. And after that, the skilled employment experience. If you have at least 8 years of experience, you'll get 15 points for that. And if you have got that skilled employment experience in Australia, you'll get additional points for that. Moving on, you'll get certain number of points for your educational qualifications as well. And similarly, you'll get points for all the other different criterias. I won't go into too much detail, or this video will be very long. I'll provide the link in the description box below so you can check it out. But I'll quickly walk you through this points table. So let's say you want to apply for a 189 visa and your age is 25 to 33. You have superior English. Work experience is 8 years or more outside Australia. You haven't got any experience in Australia. And your educational qualification, let's say you have a bachelor degree. I will say no to this because not many people would have this. Then a master's degree or a doctorate, I would say no. Credential community language, again I would say no here. Study in regional Australia, no. Partner skills, let's say a spouse is an applicant here. So if I go on to this table, you'll find out some details for the partner skills as well. So I'm just choosing the first option here. Of course, this would vary for one person to the other. I'll say no to professional year in Australia as well. So it gives you the point summary, how much in total do you score. It says 90 points, again, which might be very good for some professions, but for some other profession, it might not be good enough. But that is how you actually calculate your points. Again, I'll provide this link in the description box as well. You can check out your points. Okay, now very important point to note here. Let's say that you completed your engineering from a different trade, but you're not working in the same trade, then the points would be deducted. Let's say, for example, you completed your engineering as an electrical or an electronics engineer and you're working as a software engineer. In that case, let's say you have 8 years of work experience. They would deduct the length of your study from your work experience. So now as a software engineer, they would only consider 4-year work experience. They would not consider the 8-year work experience. So that is a catch which stopped me from immigrating to Australia, and I'm sure it would be the case with many of you as well. So please take a special note of that. Okay, so next step is skill assessment. Every occupation has a designated skill assessment authority linked to it, and the skill assessment can be conducted only by that authority. How you can find that authority? Let's say you come to that same page that we discussed earlier, you type your occupation, it will tell you the assessing authority. So let's say I've just typed in a general occupation here, engineer, so it will cover all the occupations that have engineer word in it. So for all the aeronautical engineers, your skill assessment would be done by Engineers Australia. Similarly for agriculture engineer as well. For aircraft maintenance engineers, it would be TRA. For civil engineering technician, it would be VETASES. For computer network and systems engineer, it would be ACS. So it differs from one occupation to the other. You just need to check over here which occupation has which skills assessment authority. So this was about engineers. Let's say if I talk about nurse, so of course the authority for that would be even more different. So for enrolled nurse, it's ANMAC. For mothercraft nurse, it's VETASES. So I hope that this is pretty clear. You can search for your occupation and then you can also get to know the respective assessing authority as well. Now these authorities are responsible for comparing skills, education and work experience of any visa applicant to Australian standards. Now in this step there would be a fee involved and it might vary from one authority to the other, but generally it would be somewhere around 500 Australian dollars, and they would need documents related to your occupation and work experience to complete your skills assessment. Okay, the fourth step is about your English test. Now the step 3 and step 4 can actually go hand in hand. They can go in parallel. So you can get your English test done even before your skill assessment. That does not make any difference. So the basic eligibility criteria is that you should have a competent English. Now, of course, here in Australian PR, we're only talking about one language, that is English. We're not talking about French. And for English, you can give 5 different exams: IELTS, TOEFL IBT, PTE Academic, OET, and Cambridge CAE. So for IELTS, you need to have 6 bands in each of its different sections. For proficient English, you should actually get 7 bands in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And for superior English, for which you'll get the maximum number of points, you should actually score 8 bands in all the 4 different sections. In respective to that, as mentioned here in these different tables, you can actually get the score of different English proficiency tests. Now let me make it very clear. Let's say you're aiming for superior English and you score 8 or more bands in all the different sections except writing, where you get 7.5 bands. It would be considered as proficient English. It won't be considered as superior English. So you should have 8 or above in all the 4 sections. I hope that's clear. Okay, so the 5th step is submitting your EOI or expression of interest. It is an online form in Skill Select which asks a series of questions about your skills depending on the visa subclass. So as it is mentioned here that all EOIs must be completed online using Skill Select, and EOI is not a visa application and there's no fee to create or submit an EOI in Skill Select. So this step is free of cost. Once you log in into Skill Select and you create your account, then you need to provide the details related to education, work experience, family, skill assessment, language test, and all the others. Now, based on the information that you provide in the application, points would now be calculated by them. Earlier, you calculated those points. Now, based on that information, they would calculate your points, and based on the number of points and the in-demand jobs, you would get an invitation. Once you have completed your EOI, it is scored in Skill Select and is valid for 2 years. You can also update the information in this EOI anytime when you have gained a new work experience or a higher qualification or improved your English test score, or maybe when your family makeup has changed, because all of this might mean that your points would change. Okay, so now the last step, which is submitting your visa application. Alright, as I told you earlier, it is not necessary that even after having 70 or 75 or 80 points, you would certainly get the invitation. But if you get the invitation, so if you're invited to apply for a visa, you'll receive an invitation from Skill Select. You will then have 2 months time from the date of invitation to make a valid visa application before the invitation expires. So 60 days time and an online visa application process. Now here, of course, you would need to provide a lot of data to all the different online forms that are there, and of course all the documents as well, like birth certificate, passport pages, educational documents, identity documents, marriage or divorce certificates, police clearance certificates, all of those things, apart from immigration documents like skill assessment result and English test, and your work experience documents as well. So all of those documents you need to provide at this stage, and then after that, at this stage, you need to pay the fee for this visa application as well. So if you're applying for 189 visa or 190 visa, the fee is 4,115 Australian dollars. For an additional applicant for 18 or over, the charge is around $2,000 extra, and for an additional applicant under 18, the charge is around $1,000 extra. And now you might ask about the processing times. I do not want to comment on it right now because since last 2 years, this visa application process has not been very active, and before the pandemic hit, the processing times were around 8 months to 1 year, but now it might take even more. So I don't want to comment on that right now. So guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I really hope that all the information shared in this video would be helpful to you. I regularly upload videos, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please click the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching this video.